for this video, we are going to talk about joint variation. So joint variation, it is a function in the form z is equal to kxy, wherein k is the constant of variation and k should not be equal to 0. The function can be read as z varies jointly as x and y, or z is proportional to x and y, or it can also be read as this, no? Z varies directly as the product of x and y. So, the only difference between direct and joint variation is that, medyo same kasi sila, no? Sa direct variation kasi, we are talking about two variables lang, which is x and y. Okay? Sa joint variation, there is an additional variable, which is z. So we are talking about mostly three variables, which is x, y, and z. And these variables, they can be other letters or other variables in the alphabet. No? So before we solve problems regarding joint variation, let us translate variation statement into its equivalent function, just like what we did when we learned about direct and inverse variation. So first, let's have this variation statement. So it says here, z varies jointly as x and y. So if you write that into a function, it will become like this. So z is equal to kxy. Don't forget k, which is the constant of variation. No? Then the second one, we have a varies jointly as the square of b and the cube of c. So if you write that into a function, it will become a is equal to k. Again, don't forget k, which is the constant of variation. And then b squared, kasi sabi sa statement, square of b, okay? So b squared and then c cubed, kasi sabi doon, cube of c. So if you write that into a function, it will become a is equal to k b squared c cubed. And then the third one, t varies jointly as u and the cube of s. So if you write that into a function, it will become t is equal to k. Again, we have k, no, don't forget. K, u, and then s cube. Kasi sabi doon, cube of s. And then lastly, m varies jointly as the square root of n and cube root of o. So if you write that, it will become m is equal to k, and then square root of n, sabi dun sa statement, so you write square root of n and then cube root of o. So cube root of o. Okay? So that's it. That is how you translate variation statement into a given function. It is very important kasi before you solve a problem regarding variations, you should know how to translate variation statement into its equivalent function kasi bale yan na yung gagamitin nyo na formula to solve the given problems in variation. So now let us solve problems regarding joint variation. So let's say this is problem number 1. And we have z varies jointly as x and y. So this will be your variation statement. Ito yung gagamitin nyo to derive the function. If z is equal to 10, when x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4, you need to find the value of z when x is equal to 12 and y is equal to 5. So the first phrase here, you need to use that to derive your function. So z varies jointly as x and y. Before we solve the problem, we need to derive a function. using the first statement in the problem. So Z varies jointly as X and Y can be written as this. Z is equal to K, again don't forget K, which is the constant of your variation, and then X, Y. So Z is equal to KXY will be the formula that you're going to use to solve the given problem. Okay? So now, what we need to do is to take a look at your problem. Kung napapansin nyo sa problem nyo, walang binigay na value sa constant of variation. If that is the case, you need to first find the value of K, which is the constant of variation, before you find the value of Z. Okay? So this will be your solution. Solution of K, bale, there are two solutions. No? So the first one is your solution to solve the value of K, and then the second one is your solution to solve the value of Z. So, using the function, solve natin yung value ng K natin. And for us to solve the value of K, we need to use the first given of the variables in the problem, which is this, yung in-underline ko na red. So, gagamitin natin yung values ng X, Y, and Z to find the K. Then, using the function, yung Z natin is 10. So, we write 10 is equal to K. We are looking for K. So, write mo lang yung K. And then, X natin is 3. So, lagyan natin ng parentheses, indication na we substitute already the value of X, no? And then Y natin is 4. So, as you can see here, nauna yung variable sa numbers. So, what we need to do is to rewrite it, no? Kasi kailangan mauuna yung numbers, of course, kasi it will become the coefficient. So, imbes na ganito yung mangyayari, it will become like this. 10 is equal to quantity 3, quantity 4, and then you have your K. Okay, and then continue natin yung solution natin. Multiply natin si 3 and 4. So, we have 10 is equal to 3 times 4, that is 12K. Now, to get rid of 12, divide natin both both sides by 12. So, cancel. And K now is equal to 10 over 12. 10 over 12 can be simplified. Okay, divide natin siya sa 2. So, kapag dinivide natin sa 2, it will become 5 over 6. So, that is now the value of your K. So, write natin dito, K is equal to 5 over 6. Okay? And then, meron na tayong value ng constant. Therefore, we can now solve for the value of Z. So, para naman ma-solve natin yung value ng Z, we will use the second given of X and Y, which is this. No, yung in-underline ko na orange. So again, using the function that we derive, we have Z is equal to, K natin is 5 over 6. So just write 5 over 6. And then yung X natin is equal to 12. Second given ng X na yung gagamitin, okay? And then Y natin is 5. So, to find the value of Z, you need to find the product of 5 over 6, 12, and 5. So, you can just type this in your scientific calculators, no? Or kung wala kayong scientific calculators, I can advise na you make it into fraction so that you can multiply the numerators and the denominator. So, it will become like this, 12 over 1, then 5 over 1. Then, i-multiply nyo lang yung numerators and then yung denominators, and then if pwede pa sila i-simplify, then you can simplify. Okay? So z is equal to 5 times 12, that is equal to 60. Tama ba? Yes. And then 60 times 5, again, that is equal to 300. And then 6 times 1 times 1 is equal to 6. Okay, z is equal to 300 over 6. 300 over 6 can be simplified pa, no? We can divide 300 by 6, and the answer is 50. So, therefore, ayan na yung value ng z mo, which is 50. So, in this given problem, the value of the constant is 5 over 6, and then the value of the value of z is equal to 50. Okay? How about another example? So, let's say we have a varies jointly as b and the square of c. So if a is equal to 20, when b is equal to -4 and c is equal to 2, find b. When a is equal to 20 and c is equal to -2. So again, using the first statement here in the problem, we can derive our function. So a varies jointly as b and the square of c can be written as a is equal to k jointly as b. Okay, so b and the square of c, so c squared. Okay, so the function required in this problem is a is equal to k b c squared. Okay, and then take a look at the problem. As you can see, wala tayong value ng k, which is the constant, no? So that is the first one that we need to solve. Okay, so for us to find the value of k, we need to use the given for a, b, and c. Yung first na given, which is this 3, no? Yung in-underline ko ng red. So using that, we can solve for the value of k. So using the function, yung a natin is 20 is equal to k. Rewrite natin yung k kasi yun yung hinahanap natin. So technically, wala siyang value, no? Kasi hinahanap nga natin yung value niya. Now we have 20 is equal to k. Yung b natin is -4. So -4. And then yung c natin is 2. As you can see, yung c natin is naka-square. So therefore, you need to also write a square there. So 2 squared. And then rewrite natin, mauuna yung numbers. So we have -4, and then 2 squared, and then k. So simplify natin. So we have 20 is equal to -4. Simplify muna natin yung may exponent. 2 squared is equal to 4, and then k. Right after nyan, multiply natin. -4 times 4 is equal to -16k. So to get rid of -16, divide natin both sides by -16. And then -16 will be cancelled out. K is equal to 20 over -16. So as you can see, we can divide 20 by -16, but we can simplify it by dividing them by their common factor, which is 4. No? So 20 divide 4 is equal to 5. And then 16 divide 4 is equal to 4. And then we have a negative sign there. So automatically, the answer is also in negative. So the value of k is equal to negative 5 over 4. So we can now solve for b kasi we now have the value of our k, which is negative 5 over 4. Now for us to solve the value of b, we need to use the second given for the value of a and c, as well as yung sinolve natin na value ng k. So this will be now the solution of b. So using the second given for A, which is 20, and second given for C, as well as the value of our K, we can now solve for the value of B. So A natin is 20, same lang ng unang given, no? And then yung K natin is negative 5 over 4. And then the B is equal to wala, kasi B yung hinahanap natin. So we can just write B there. And then yung C natin is negative 2, and then naka-squared siya, negative 2 squared. And then rewrite lang natin siya na mauuna yung numbers. Okay, so kapag nire-write natin yung given natin, it will become like this. So 20 is equal to negative 5 over 4. And then, mauuna lang si negative 2 squared. Negative 2 squared. And then we have b. So, imbis na ito yung gamitin natin, let's change it. And then, yan. And then, right after natin inayos yung given natin, we can simplify. So, we have 20 is equal to negative 5 over 4. And then, simplify natin yung may exponent negative 2 squared is equal to 4. Okay, which is positive. Then, we have b. And then, 20 is equal to negative 5 over 4 times 4. That will be equal to negative 5. Okay, and then b. Para ma-cancel out si negative 5, divide natin both sides by negative 5. So, cancel the value of b, which can be simplified. Okay, divide natin sa 20 kay negative 5, the answer is negative 4. And that will be the value of b. Okay, so in this problem, the value of the constant is negative 5 over 4, and the value of the unknown, which is b, okay, is negative 4. How about if the given is a word problem like this? So the kinetic energy K is proportional to the mass m of a body and the square of its velocity v. If K is equal to 50 when M is equal to 12 and V is equal to 2, find K when M is equal to 8 and V is equal to 10. So, of course, first we need to derive a function using the first phrase here in the problem. Okay, so sabi, the kinetic energy K, so K is proportional to the mass M and the square of velocity v. So capital K is equal to K, small k, which is the constant of variation, proportional to the mass m, and to the square of its velocity v. So it is v squared. And then, as you can see here in the problem, wala tayong value ng constant, which is the small k, no? What we need to do is to find the value of the constant. So, solution of k, we need to use the first values of the capital K, M, and then V for us to find the value of k, which is your constant. Okay? So, using the function that we derive, capital K, which is equal to 50. So, 50 equals small k, which is the constant. K, then times yung M natin is 12. Yung V natin is 2. And then, it should be squared. Then, rewriting this given, we have 12, and then 2 squared, and then K. Simplify natin, we have 12 and then 2 squared is equal to 4. And we have K. So we have 50 is equal to 12 times 4 is equal to 48. So 48K. Divide natin both sides by 48. Now we have K is equal to 50 over 48. As you can see, we cannot divide 50 by 48. So therefore, tingnan na lang natin if we can simplify them. So in this case, pwede pa natin sila i-simplify by dividing them to their common factor, which is 2. So 50 divide 2, 25. And the 48 divide 2, 24. So the value of our constant is equal to 25 over 24. Okay? Now na meron na tayong value ng constant natin, we can now solve for the value of our K. So we are looking for K. Solution, capital K. Okay? Don't be confused by the two Ks. So yung capital K yung kinetic energy, yung small k yung constant of variation. Solution of yung capital K. So, para ma-solve natin yung kinetic energy, or which is yung capital na K, we need to use the second given for the mass and the velocity. Okay, which is yung in-underline ko ng yellow. So, again, using the function, we are looking for the capital K, or the value of the kinetic energy, is equal to small k, which is yung constant natin, is 25 over 24. And then, yung mass natin is equal to 8, yung second given na. And then, yung velocity natin is equal to 10, which is naka-squared. Okay? We have so, rewrite natin, we have 25 over 24. And then 8. Simplify natin. Or, if you do not have scientific calculators, pwede nyo silang gawing fraction. And then, multiply nyo numerators times numerators, and then denominators times denominators, and simplify. So, 10 squared is equal to 100. Yes, 100 over 1. So, 25 times 8 times 100, that is equal to 20,000. So, ginagawa ko lang to para mapakita sa inyo like manually. Pero if you have a scientific calculator, you can just type in this first solution. Kasi, makukuha na agad yun. No? Pero dito, I just want you to see manually kung paano yung mangyayari. So, we have 20,000 over 24 times 1 times 1 is equal to 24. Okay? And then, we have two answers, no? Kapag word problem, it can be fraction or it can also be in decimal form. So, tatanggapin ko kahit alin doon sa dalawa. So, if we simplify, 20,000 over 24, it is equal to 2,500 over 3. So, basically, dinivide lang natin siya sa common factor nila, which is 8. Okay? Kaya nakuha natin C, 2,500 over 3. But then we are talking about kinetic energy. Sa science to, kadalasan, no? And sa science, mas tinatanggap nila if the answer, like most of the time, the answer is in decimal form. So, gagawin natin si 2,500 over 3 in decimal form. And the answer is 833.33. And we are talking about kinetic energy, no? So, lalagyan natin siya ng unit. So, ang unit for kinetic energy is in joules, no? So, the answer is, so it can be 2. Tatanggapin ko yung dalawang option nyo sa answer, no? So, the first one is 2,500 over 3 joules, or it can be in decimal form, which is 833.33 joules. Okay, that's it. So, that is all about joint variation.